I think we all need to think of protein as a delivery of animal-based nutrients, carnitine and CLA and other needs to be in this digestion absorption. So now you're delivering this pool of amino acids, which
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Kidney Coach YouTube channel. I am naturopath Fiona Chin, co-founder of the Kidney Disease Solution, kidney coach, and of course our supplements Kaigenesis. And today I'm joined by Dr. Rick Cohen. So Dr. Rick Cohen, we've not had on our podcast before. I was blessed to meet him a month or so ago, and I was so impressed by his knowledge that I said, you've got to come on our podcast. So he's a physician and functional medicine doctor with over 20 years of experience in the medical field. And he actually founded the company called Ignite Longevity, which provides personalized assessments and integrative interventions to help people take a comprehensive approach to living longer and healthier lives. So he has a real focus on longevity and inside the longevity space as well. He has dedicated his career to the treatment and prevention of lifestyle and metabolic related diseases, hence why he has some knowledge and skills when it comes to kidney disease. His goal is to help his patients unlock the keys to achieving optimal metabolic health. When it comes to kidney disease and protein gets a bad rap. And, there's a lot of, we often recommend that people reduce their protein intake and take it away from red meat and do plant-based proteins because of the nitrogen and all those sort of things. So we wanted to delve into the science behind protein, amino acids. Is it really as bad as we think it is? And what do you do to make sure that you don't end up protein deficient? So Dr. Cohen, I'm going to hand it over to you. So let's start at a high level. Protein, what is it? What's the big deal?
protein. What's the big deal? I think we all need to think of protein as a delivery of amino acids. Okay, so we'll apologize for anyone we find this too basic, but I think in my years that sometimes what I might think is basic is not for people who don't do this for a living, right?
Yeah.
So protein is amino acids, protein foods. Okay, so there's a difference, right? So you can eat meat and it has protein in it, but it also has all these other we'll call animal-based nutrients, carnitine and CLA and other nutrients which are helpful for the body. And you can eat protein in plants and it has fiber and B vitamins and so forth, but that's not protein, right? That's only a part of it. So you want to think of protein as amino acids, and amino acids are like Legos, right? Amino acids, so your protein needs to be digested, and then it needs to be absorbed, and then it needs to be in this digestion absorption. So now you're delivering this pool of amino acids, which are different for each protein source, depending on how they're grown. So for example, corn is deficient in lysine, but animal protein, right, which has taken vegetables and then packed them together to make muscle, is complete because it's done the process of arranging it for you. Sort of an interesting, just an aside, if you think of cattle, and in the same vein of protein, cattle are a protein factory, right? So think about it. They eat grass. They eat grass and they grow huge and massive muscle, but they have a different ability to process foods than we do. They are literally a protein factory, which we evolved to take advantage of in particular ways. So, meat plan agenda, beliefs, all aside, that's sort of how the process worked. So these amino acids are then taken and your body needs to put them back together or send them to particular purposes. So whether they're to help with muscle repair or muscle growth, to build immune cells, to build enzymes, right? So all these three tasks, and then proteins are not only these long chains of amino acids, which is what a protein is, right? They're folded up into different forms. And then these shapes of proteins can unfold and fold and then they sort of fit into keys into cells. And with AI now, we're beginning to understand the folding of proteins, because there's like trillions of ways these proteins can fold, and part of the aging process of protein degradation is this loss of folding. Okay,
Interesting. So it's like
that's more
having bad
complex.
laundry that's just chucked on the bed and not folded properly versus your cleaner or mum that comes in and fresh presses the suit and all of those sort of things. So as we age,
Exactly.
yeah, right.
Sort of lock and key. So we need to think of protein as Legos, right? So we get this Lego box, we've taken it apart. We need to then get it into the body, then the body figure out what it needs to do with it and puts it into different places based on our needs. Those needs will change for each person, depending on our size, our activity, the state of our health, whether we have disease, whether we're young, whether we're old, or gender, and so forth. So there are many different phases of life that our protein requirements, for all sorts of things will be modified. Now, the thing about protein is it's not a primary fuel source. The body doesn't, body uses fat and carbohydrates for fuel.
Yeah.
Where in
Exactly.
essence, protein can be turned into, there's a process called gluconeogenesis where it can be, but it's just like, if you're fasting, right? If you're starving and your body, you've gone 2 weeks without food and 3 weeks, that's when your body starts to catabolize, right? Breaks down your muscle proteins and then starts to create some glucose, but also now you're developing ketones, and it's a whole complex process to keep us alive, but not a good thing, right? Not a good thing if you're burning down your house to stay warm.
We'll get Dr. Cohen back to do those conversations, but anything you want to know in the meantime, drop in the comments below. Remember to hit subscribe and like, that way you'll get notified when we do another podcast with this amazing man. Thank you for being part of our community. And Dr. Cohen, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and your knowledge, and I can't wait to have more conversations with you.
Well, thank you, Fiona.
No worries. Thanks, everybody. Bye.